Bang! What is up, guys? Welcome to Cyber Tech, and today we're going to be looking at a gaming PC that I picked up for $140. Yes, you heard that right, $140. Now, obviously what you're wondering, what are the specs of this thing? Well, it's got an AMD FX6300, it's got some sort of Zalman CPU cooler that I don't know the model of, an Asus M5A99 FX motherboard. It's got a 1TB hard drive, 1200 watt power supply, which I did some digging around online, and it looks like it's not a good power supply, and it might not even be rated for 1200 watts, but I'm not going to complain because it's better than a cheap PSU from China or wherever else you can buy a cheap PSU at. 1TB hard drive, and a brand new plastic still on it Thermaltake V21 case. And upon looking at this case, I figured I'm going to keep this thing because this thing is pretty cool and it would be great for any LAN parties that I attend in the future, if I ever do. The GPU. What GPU is in here? The GPU inside this thing is a PNY GTX 1050. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory on the GTX 1050. So while I was talking to the guy, he told me he picked this thing up for $30 because some kid did not know what he had. I didn't bother asking him details about it, but for $30, he picked up a GTX 1050. That's a hell of a deal right there. So this came with 6 GB of DDR3. I added one stick of 2 GB of DDR3, totaling out to 8 GB of DDR3, and I paid $5 for that stick. So in total, this PC is $145, and the value that it gives is fantastic. Now, I do want to mention before I show you gaming benchmarks that I did overclock this thing to a stable 4.4 gigahertz. Anything past that, nope, ain't gonna work. So 4.4 gigahertz, it was stable, it was hanging in there, and it was doing great. So in the back of my mind, I was kind of wondering how he was making any profit for selling this so cheap. At least this was pretty cheap to me, considering what all you get. Well, I sent him a message afterwards and talked to him a little bit, and he told me he basically found most of the parts in the dumpster, everything except the GPU and the case. So I want to give a huge shout out to Brad. Thank you for your service, and best of luck to you in another country. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at some benchmarks. Alright, so you guys saw benchmarks and then the gaming benchmarks, and it did pretty fantastic for what it was. Now, I was trying to figure out why it kept spiking in games like Battlefield 1, and I still was not able to figure that out. I am going to assume it had something to do with MSI Afterburner or something else. So I had a clean installation of Windows 10 Pro. I bought a key off eBay for about £3 British, which is like $4 or $5. And keep in mind, I will want to say that if you're going to buy these cheap Windows keys, use them right away, as if you buy a key now and wait a couple months, that key might be expired, invalid, or something. But that being said, everything was good with Windows. All the updates were there, up-to-date graphics card drivers, everything was good. But I just could not figure out why Battlefield 1 was spiking. When I lowered the resolution, it put less strain on the GPU, and it was still doing the same thing. So even after lowering the GPU graphics settings, the CPU was still stuttering a little bit, and it had nothing to do with the overclock, because I was running hardware monitors. I was checking to see if there was too much heat coming out of the CPU, and there wasn't. It didn't hit above 55C, and everything was good. So why we're stuttering that bad, I don't know. I made sure though I checked all my overclock settings in the BIOS. Everything checked out great. Not like I messed up in my last video where I missed a couple, like the South Bridge and disabling some other settings and all that good jazz. So I'm probably gonna flip this guy, toss it in a different case, because I'm gonna keep this. So guys, thanks for watching. Leave a comment down in the description. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. Was this a good deal at $145, or was this an okay deal? This is Cybernetic Tech signing out. I will catch you guys in the next one.